vignopashantaye.
The next one.
Saraswati namastubhyam
Parade kamarupini vidyarambham karishyami siddhir bhavatu me sada.
Yenakshara samamnayam
येनाक्षर समाम्नायम् अधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः.
Sahana Vavatu. Anybody?
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Very nice. So yesterday we got started with Karmani Prayoga, and Swamini ji gave us a wonderful introduction to why we use Karmani Prayoga, and you will find in a lot of the literature, you will find this Karmani Prayoga, the passive voice being used. And karma, we know, is the object. And so karmani is the locative, is the seventh case, saptami vibhakti of that karma word. Karma is nakarantaha napunsakalinga shabdaha. So karmani prayogaha. So a usage which is based on the object. So it is an object-centric construction. Now you can go back and look at what we had done before, which is kartari prayogaha. Kartari, karta is the doer subject, and karta is a rikaranta shabdaha, pullinga shabdaha, and kartari is the locative of the karta. And so kartari prayogaha is that usage in which the karta is prominent. And so karta-centric usage is kartari prayogaha, and karma-centric usage is karmani prayogaha. Now, when we say kartari prayogaha, where we do it as a dirgha, you know, you are very likely to know that this is a kartari. So kartari is a pair of scissors. But we were not doing kartari prayogaha, we were doing kartari prayogaha. Similarly, this is also karmani prayogaha. So we know the importance of the hrasva dirgha usage. Okay, so karmani prayogaha, where the focus is on the karma, on the object. So we have seen a lot of verbs with in the kartrupadam, in the kartari prayogaha, pathati, dhavati. We've seen it in the first conjugation, fourth conjugation, sixth conjugation, and the 10th conjugation. Each of those dhatus have an equivalent form in the karmani world. So the same pat dhatuhu in the kartari world exists as pathati, pathatha, pathanti, pathasi, pathatha, pathatha, pathami, pathavaha, pathamaha. In the karmani world, it exists as pathyate, pathyete, pathyante, pathyase, pathyethe, pathyadve, pathye, Pathyavahe, pathyamahe. And this form is similar to the Atmanepadi form that we have seen in Kartari Prayoga. Okay. Another thing to remember between Kartari Prayoga and the Karmani Prayoga, or this is the way I look at it, is that when you are Karta-centric, the ego is there. And so when the ego is there, then you also have this other viewpoint of I'm doing it for myself, I'm doing it for another person. And so you have the distinction between the Parasmaipadi and the Atmanepadi in the Kartari Prayoga. But once you come to the Karmani Prayoga, since it is karma-centric, there is no ego involved, and hence you don't have the distinction of Parasmaipadi or Atmanepadi. But technically, the form uses the Atmanepadi form. So that is why you have Pathyate, Pathyete, Pathyante. Sadhu. Okay, so we've seen few examples from yesterday. Then the next important thing to remember about Karmani Prayoga is that between the Kartari Prayoga and the Karmani Prayoga, only three things change. The three things that change are the Karta, the Karma, and the Kriya. The subject, the object, and the action. So the action will be the new Karmani Prayoga form of the verb. And maybe it is time for me to open up my paint. So there are only three things that are that change between Kartari Prayoga and Karmani Prayoga, and that those three. I think that's because the streaming may have stopped, but I think that the recording continues. I will try to initiate it from the cloud. Okay, so so we'll see the. I'm sharing the screen. Okay, so we have, and I like my ruled notebook, so my handwriting is not all over the place. So there are only three things that are affected between Kartari Prayoga and Karmani Prayoga, and it is Karta, Karma, and Kriya. So in the Kartari Prayoga, which we have seen before, Karta is the subject, Prathama Vibhaktihi. Karma is in Dvitiya Vibhaktihi. And Kriya is the Kartari format. You either have it in Parasmaipadi or Atmanepadi format. Then now in our Karmani form, I will come back and add the English notes to it. That way we'll be going over the same thing. So Karmani Prayoga, Karma will be in Prathama Vibhaktihi. Karta will be in Tritiya Vibhaktihi. And the Kriya is only in one format. It is not Atmanepadi, but it will be like Atmanepadi. Sadhu. So Karta, Karta is subject, Karma is object, and Kriya is action or verb. Kartari prayogaha. So I should have added the word prayogaha, active, and karmani is passive. And okay, we'll come back to that. So prathama vibhaktihi is first case, tritiya vibhaktihi is third case, dvitiya vibhaktihi is second case. So this is P or A, and here there is no distinction. It is like A. Okay. We saw that the verb has to be sakarmaka dhatuhu. So sakarmaka dhatuhu means taking a karma padam. So when it is a kartari prayogaha, the kriya padam can either be sakarmakaha or akarmakaha. But in a karmani prayogaha, it can only be sakarmakaha. So what about the akarmakaha? For that, we have what is called the bhave prayogaha. So for bhave prayogaha, you have the akarmakaha. All right. So in bhave prayogaha, there is no karma padam. And the karta will be in tritiya vibhaktihi. And this form is the same. It is like Atmanepadi. These two have the same form. They don't have different forms. It's not that you have a different form for karmani and the way you derive the verb from the dhatu, it is the same between karmani prayogaha and bhave prayogaha. But in the case of the bhave prayogaha, so for the kartari prayogaha, for this you have the 3/3. For the karmani prayogaha also you have the 3/3. But for the bhave prayogaha, you have only 1,1. Only the third person singular is applicable for the bhave prayogaha and not any of the other formats. Okay, so only these things change. Nothing else changes. So what about the instrumental Ramaha hastena khadati? So what happens to that hastena remains the same. Ramaha hastena khadati, Ramena hastena khadyate. So we will look at a few sentences, and that way we will be able to see how the conversion happens between one form and the other. You know that it is, once you have the template, once you have a list of, yes, Bhaskarji, you're on mute.
I lost you in this bhave voice or whatever.
So that bhave prayogaha, they refer to it as an impersonal voice.
Okay.
So we will use examples, that way we will know what the bhave prayoga usage is.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
The
Yeah.
only thing that, so here I have said it is, this one is sakarmakaha, a transitive or intransitive verb. Both are applicable for the kartari prayogaha, but for karmani prayogaha, only transitive, and for the bhave prayogaha, only the intransitive. So what does all of this mean? We will take a look at the other document. We will take a look here. So we start off with Ramaha phalam hastena khadati. What does that mean? Rama, name, phalam, fruit, hastena, by hand, khadati, eats. So this will transform into, we need the equivalent of khadati in karmani prayoga. And so the equivalent is khadyate. Okay. So the next question is, what is being eaten? Phalam is being eaten. And we know that phalam is a Napunsakalinga word, and therefore it remains the same in both the Prathama Vibhaktihi and the Dvitiya Vibhaktihi. And who is doing the eating? Ramaha. Here that will become Ramena because it is in Tritiya. So Ramena phalam khadyate. And how is he eating? That is not going to change. It is going to remain as hastena. So Ramaha was Prathama Vibhaktihi. Phalam is, actually, I will do both the Vibhaktihi and the Vachanam because we'll make changes to that and see how it is affected. So this is 1-1, this is 2-1, this is 3-1, and that is 1-1. As in Prathama Purushaha and Ekavachanam. Ramena becomes 3-1. Phalam is 1-1. Hastena becomes, it remains as the instrumental, and khadyate is also 1-1. Now we will change this. Please give me a verb. Anybody? If it is applicable, I will take it. Please give me a verb.
Pashyati.
Pashyati. Okay. Somebody else, please give me who sees.
Vidya ji, can you hear me?
Yeah?
May I ask a question
Yeah?
before we start this? Is this the second sentence? Is this the fruit is eaten by Rama?
Correct.
Okay.
So khadyate is eaten. Am I squishing? I don't need to squish. Okay, so here it is fruit is eaten by Rama, and here it is Rama eats the fruit. And in both cases, using, I'm just going to say using the hand, but of course he's not eating it using somebody else's hand. So we will leave that as his hand. Okay. So fruit is eaten by Rama using the hand. Rama eats the fruit using the hand. So that does not change. Okay. So I got the verb pashyati. And can somebody give me the subject?
Balika.
Okay. And can somebody give me an object?
Pustakam.
Okay. So I will now change how I want to. Can I have something other than a neuter gender word?
Kakaha.
No. Okay. So crow is being seen. Fine. That's good. That will work. So pashyati. So I am going to use the word pashyati. So I will retain the subject as singular. Pashyati, and we will say balika, and this is good. Having different genders here is good. So balika kakan pashyati. So the girl sees the crows. So kakan becomes crows. Okay, since I'm writing the whole sentence by itself, I don't need to squish in the forms. I can just use the vibhakti. 1, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 1. And the meaning is girl sees the crows. Now, in the Karmani Prayogaha, the verb actually takes a different form. It takes the
Plural.
Drish. Oh, sorry.
yeah, it takes the drish. I'm trying to see if we have seen the form before. We saw pashyati, we've seen apashyat, we have seen pashyatu, and we have seen pashyet. So we've not seen the modification of the dhatuhu. We've not seen the bhavishyat kalaha, and we've not seen any participles, correct? So we need to now know that the pash equivalent in the Karmani Prayogaha is what Chris G had said. Can you say that again, Chris G?
Drish.
Okay, so drish is the equivalent in the Karmani format. So pashyati becomes drishyate. But then what in this case, because it is the crows that are being seen, the drishyate is applicable to the crows, and so it has to be in bahuvachanam. It has to be a plural. So it will be drishyante. So drishyante, and when you say drishyante, the question then will be, what are being seen? So what are being seen will be in prathama vibhakti. So ke drishyante, what are being seen? Kakaha drishyante. So kakaha drishyante, the crows are being seen. Now we ask, crows are being seen by whom? By balika. So balika will now go to the tritiya vibhakti. So it will become balikaya. And so this sentence is, crows are seen by girl. And if you go back and look at the vibhakti, balikaya becomes the instrumental 3-1. Kakaha is 1-3 because we took it as the plural, and drishyante is prathama purushaha and bahuvachana, third person plural. Good.
May I ask, why do you have to change from pashyati to drishyati?
Drishyante.
That is how the verb changes. So the verb exists as a the verb, the pash dhatuhu, exists as a, you know how you have dual stars. Like that, this verb exists as a dual verb. It exists as pash and drish. In some cases, you will have the pash forms, and in some other cases, you will have the drish forms. So it is a verb that exists in two options. Very unlikely that you will find its existence in both forms. For example, we did gacchati. The gacchati verb, when we did the, we didn't have any modification happen to the gach dhatuhu. The gacchati will become gamyate. So the gach, gam exists as a pair. Then the asti, we have seen, we've kind of used asti. In the passive voice, as loses its existence and we will only use bhuyate. So as and the bhu, they kind of exist as partners. So some of them are different dhatus, but they end up being used. They share usage. Sometimes it is the same dhatuhu that exists in different forms.
Thank you, Vijaji. Thank you.
So pashyati would be in active and drishyante would be always passive. Is that the way, or do they interchange?
Pashyati and drishyate, correct. Pashyati is always active and drishyate is always passive.
Always passive. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, Vidyaji.
Okay. So now I would like another verb, please.
Maybe we can use gachati and see.
Okay. And give me, okay, I will fill in the remaining stuff. So gachati. So I'm going to say that we are going on a tour. And we are going on a tour of villages. We are going to go visit many villages. So, vayam gacchamaha. We are going to go. Sadhu. So I'm going to use first person. So I will say vayam graman gacchamaha. Vayam graman gacchamaha. So we go to villages. And then, so, all of that was to have been in black. And I don't think I can inject the black color into.
Doesn't matter.
It's okay.
There.
You did it.
Okay. All right. Sometimes I can pull that off, at times I won't be able to. Okay. So, vayam graman gacchamaha, and that would translate to we go to villages, and the vibhakti is vayam is it is a sarvanama shabdah. So it is actually prathama vibhakti a bahuvachanam. So I have to do it as 1,3, but you know it is a first person, right? It is the asmad shabdah. So graman is dvitiya vibhakti bahuvachanam, and gacchamaha is third person plural. I'm sorry, first person plural. Yeah, 3 means first person plural. Okay, so vayam is actually the sarvanama shabdah for the first person pronoun. Now, how does this change? Now, graman gacchamaha. So graman is in plural, and therefore this will be gramaha. And here,
Vidyaji, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the vayam and then the verb don't match with numbers. 1333.
Correct, right? They match. Vayam gacha. Don't look at the numbers. But now tell me, is the sentence correct? Vayam graman gachamaha. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Gachamaha is the third
1-3.
person. I'm sorry, it is the first person
1-3.
plural.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
1-3.
But you are correct because it appears like as though it doesn't work, because vayam is the asmad shabdas prathama vibhaktihi bahuvachanam. But that by itself, I will mark it specially. That by itself is the pronoun, is a first person pronoun. And that first person matches the 3. Right? So here it is first person pronoun. And this first person is what this 3 is, right? First person. Even though it looks like I'm doing 1, 3 and 3, 3, but we are doing the 1, 3 of the first person pronoun. Sadhu, in the case of Ramaha, Ramena, Balika, Ramaha and Balika, they were all third person pronoun, not pronoun. They were all third person nouns. Here it is first person pronoun. I will continue, and if you want something clarified, we'll come back to it. Okay. So gramaha and gacha. So gramaha is the object, and gramaha is what? It is
Plural. It's
plural.
plural.
Prathama vibhakti bahuvachana.
Yeah.
Therefore,
Gachamahe.
no. Please think before you work it out. So gachamaha, I need to give you the passive voice format. Gamyate is the passive voice format. Now that I have given you the passive voice format, you tell me what it should be.
Gachati.
Gamyate.
Gamyante.
Damyante.
It should be
Gamyete.
gamyante.
Gamyante.
Because
Gamye. No, sorry.
No, we go.
Gamyante. It be
Right,
Gamyamahe.
No. No. In the case of, okay, let me do the English first and then we will do the Sanskritam. So we go to villages, will become villages
Yes. Can't buy it.
are gone to by us. So by us will become asmabhihi. And the relationship of the verb is not with the karta. The relationship is with the karma, and the karma is in third person. Because the karma is in the third person, the kriya padam will be gamyate, but because it is bahuvachanam, it will be gamyante. So gramaha gamyante. The best way to understand karmani prayogaha is you remove the karta. You remove the karta and deal only with the karma and the kriyapadam. So if you remove the karta,
The verb goes with villages.
correct. Because the verb is going with the villages, it will be in third person.
Plural, and then this is plural third case.
Third person.
That person.
So when I say 1, 3, I'm just doing it according to a 3 by 3 of Prathama Purushaha, Madhyama Purushaha, Uttama Purushaha. Sadhu. So Gamyante is 1, 3. In our 3 by 3 matrix, it is the first row, third column. Sadhu.
So villages, no. It has to agree with villages, is it?
Correct.
Correct.
Villages are gone too. So then by whom? By us. Asmad is the shabdah. So it will become asmabhihi. I think that was your prashna. I think that was your question, Harinderji, earlier. Because I'm using 1 to represent the first row
Yes.
in the...
Yes, that was. Thank you.
Right. So we must remember that in Sanskritam, we always write the third person first. So the 1 and the row number, column number is only referring to the, it is referring to that row in the matrix and not the actual person. Okay, so asmabhihi, and asmabhihi is 3-1, 3-3. Tritiya vibhaktihi and bahuvachanam, and of the same first person. So asmabhihi is still first person pronoun. Are we good? Okay.
Yeah,
Now-
very good. Thank you, Vidyaji. I think the only thing is what Harinderji says, that we used to have this we start with when we take first person, we write as 1 and not
Right,
2.
right. Yeah, so just know that we are doing the matrix position and not the person. It is only talking about the matrix position and not the person. Okay, now I will, you give me a verb and I will do the remaining. Somebody supply me with the verb, please.
Tishyati.
Hmm?
Tishyati. Standing, to stand.
What is that?
Tish.
Stand.
Yeah.
That will give an akarmaka dhatuhu. So we'll do one more with sakarmaka and then we'll go to what you gave is impersonal. It's an intransitive verb.
Kridate. Can I give that?
Intransitive verb in Sanskritam.
Jayati. Jayati.
Nayati.
Jayati.
What is that meaning?
Conquer.
Jayati, she said.
Jayati. Okay. So Jayati. Okay. Jayati. Okay. I'll pick a different verb. Pardon me. So we've done gacchati, pashyati, and khadati. Let me use
Pushyati.
no, I will use a more common nayati.
How about pachati?
Okay, pachati. Very nice. We will do pachati. So, no, I'm not going to use pachati because I want to mix the, I want to make either first person or second person object. So I don't want to be cooked and I don't want you to be cooked. So I will use the word nayati.
Nayati is good.
Nayati is to lead. So I'm going to say nayati. And who is doing the nayati? Let us say Ramaha is doing the nayati. Okay. Ramaha is doing the nayati of whom? Of you. Today's Sri Ramanavami. So Ramaha is leading us to moksham. Sadhu. So Ramaha tvam nayati. So tvam yuvam yuyam. Tvam tva yuvam vam yushman vaha. So Ramaha tvam nayati.
Could we also add to Moksha, Vidyaji?
Okay. Okay. Let me, for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to say he's taking us to Ayodhya. Okay. Ramaha Tvam Ayodhyam Nayati. This is going to be a little more interesting. So because we have two objects, so we are now going to end up covering one aspect which I had not planned on touching, but we are going to touch that now. So Rama leads, somebody said something? Leads you to Ayodhya, yes? Okay. Ramaha leads you to Ayodhya. Ramaha is 1-1. Tvam is 2-1, but of the second person. Sadhu, just as we did Vayam is 1-3 of first person, like that Tvam is the 2-1 of second person. Ayodhyam is 2-2. Why 2-2? It is 2-1. Ayodhyam is 2-1 and Nayati is 1-1. Okay, so in this case, Nayati becomes Niyate. So it is one of the special modifications. So Nayati becomes Niyate. But before we do Niyate, who is being led? What is being led? You are being led. So it is in Madhyama Purushaha. So Niyate, Niyete, Niyante, Niyase. You are being led. So this will become Niyase. So who is being led? Tvam. Tvam niyase. You are being led. By whom are you being led? By Ramaha. So Ramena. Ramena tvam niyase. Where are you being led to? You are being led to Ayodhya. What will happen to Ayodhya?
Remains the same.
Remains the same
Why?
because it's the
You're all correct. It will
because we are
remain the
leading
same.
to.
We are going to Ayodhya. There's no change in
There's no change in it.
You said no, it remains the same. Everything else.
Very nice. Very nice. Because it took me a long time to understand that. Because this one is a Dvikarmaka Dhatu. It takes two objects. Only one, the Kriyapadam, the verb can only do the work of one object. You can't overload the verb with two objects. Therefore, the verb is only doing the object of the primary object. And so Ayodhyam remains as Ayodhyam.
Yay.
You are leading us, Vidyaji, so we got it.
Samichinam, very nice. So Ramena Tvam Ayodhyam Niyase. And so later on you will realize that there is, to avoid this confusion of multiple karma padam, you can use, instead of Ayodhyam, you can use the optional vibhakti we have learned, which is Chaturthi. So you can say Ayodhyayai Niyase. Whether it is in active voice or in passive voice, you can say Ayodhyayai. So Ramena, by Rama, so this is 3-1, Tvam becomes 1-1, Ayodhyam is remains as 2-1, and Niyase is 2-1. So this, I will put an asterisk mark saying that tvam is the second person, and so this becomes the second person. Similarly, there it was in the karta and gacchamaha. So vayam gacchamaha had an association. Here tvam niyase has the association. So tvam niyase. Sadhu, you are being led to Ayodhya by Rama. And if I were to change the verb and say, we've done let us say that the girl who is going to be, or in the Kathopanishad, right? In Kathopanishad, Nachiketaha, the Balakaha, asks, to whom are you going to give me? Kasmai mam dasyasi. To whom will you give me? Yachasi. So we will use that sentence, and I think that will be safe to use that. He pitaha, the boy asks the father, He pitaha, tvam, mam, kasmai, yachasi. To whom would you give me? He pitaha. So he pitaha, pitaha is 8-1. Tvam is 1-1. Mom is 2-1. Kasmai is 4-1. And yachasi, because tvam is the subject, yachasi is also 2-1. Tvam mam kasmai yachasi. So you are led to Ayodhya by Rama. And here, to whom, unto whom are you giving me? So the in karmani prayogaha, it will become he pitaha. So he pitaha will remain because it is the sambodhana prathama, it will remain the same. Then tvam mam kasmai yachasi, the tvam will become tvaya, by you.
Karmani prayogaha.
Somebody is saying something? So tvaya, then the mam will become aham. Tvaya, aham, kasmai, and yachasi in the karmani prayogaha is diyate. So diyate, diyete, diyante. So yachasi, yachati and dadati, they coexist. So tvaya aham kasmai diye. Right? Aham diye. To whom am I going to be given? So he pitaha, tvaya is tritiya instrumental, tritiya vibhakti, third case and singular. Aham is first case and singular. Kasmai is fourth case singular. Diye is first person, so third row, and ekavachanam. Tvaya aham kasmai diye. So in the case of tvam yachasi, the relationship is between the tvam and the yachasi. In the case of karmani prayogaha, aham and diye is the relationship. So unto whom am I given by you? Good.
Vidya, do you have a question? Or is the dhatu for that just D?
Dadati.
Okay, so that answers that question also from Swamini that I asked for Swaminiji earlier. Can you just
Which
make it
was?
like a fourth gana? It doesn't work there because if you
Right.
did it would be daya, right? Yeah.
Right. So that is why Swaminiji also said don't think of it like that, because there are a lot of exceptions.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, like pashyati also.
Pashyati, drishyate, the verb itself changes. But once the verb has changed, you take the root and then it works the same way, drish. But nayati becomes niyate. And the ni is the dhatuhu there.
Ni
so
is
you're
the
fine.
dhatu there, yeah.
But if you take pibati, pibati is piyate. Pa is the dhatuhu. But pa becomes pi. So
And that has nothing to do with it having ik letter or something like that. That thing that we see in Tatupada Swaminiji was talking about. It has no relationship to that, right? That would be an easy way to check for that.
I don't believe that it might be built in, but in a more convoluted way than it may not be directly visible.
We cannot use the root verb directly and just change it.
In many cases you can, but the exceptions are plenty. So go by whatever is being introduced to you.
Yeah.
So once you go by what is being introduced to you, you will know what the formats are. And then there is always those references that you can look up to see what the form is in active voice, in the passive voice, and so on.
Thank you. That's really helpful. That clarifies a lot. Swaminiji had mentioned we would learn about the 10th conjugation today, but I don't know if we have time. We don't have to or anything, but she had mentioned it yesterday.
Don't think we have the time for that. Sorry about that.
No problem.
I was more interested in having the concept understood, and we do have to make some conversions from active voice to passive for homework. So you have to have active voice to passive voice. I can just say, take the sentences that you have worked on in the past and convert them into passive voice, but you need to know what the passive equivalent for that is. So
will you be giving us a list of verbs, Vidyaji? Sorry to interrupt if I forget.
Yes. So that is what I think I should do, which is I will give you a bunch of verbs as they transform into the passive voice. And then I will give you for the sentences that you need to do for homework, I will give what the passive voice equivalent will be. So I will have to send you the homework offline. So I can give you that homework as part of the material that will be sent later on. And I will try to send it by the end of day today. So you have an entire week to be working on them. or at least 5 days to be working on them. So you understand the concept. The main thing about Karmani Prayoga is that it is karma centric, and then the only changes happen to the karta, the karma, and the kriya. In Kartari Prayoga, the connection, let me go to the other. So in Kartari Prayoga, the relationship is between, so in Kartari Prayoga, the relationship is between the karta and the kriya. In Karmani Prayoga, the relationship is between the karma and the kriya. Oh, and Tishtati, let me quickly add that one more sentence to the other one. In Bhave Prayoga, the kriya stands by itself. There is nobody directing the kriya. It is independent, and it is not dependent on the karta. It is not dependent on the karma. It is by itself, and so it has only that one form, which is third person singular. So let's go back and add the Tishtati example that had been given to us earlier, the Tishtati word suggestion that had been done earlier. So we will use the word Ramaha Shilayam Tishtati. He's standing on a rock. So the meaning is Rama stands on a rock. Or maybe I should, instead of Ramaha, I should change it to Balaha, because we want to see the non-dependence, sadhu. So let me change it to goats. Okay, let me change it to goats. Ajaha Shilayam Tishtanti. Right? So we need the verb to change into plural. So Ajaha Shilayam Tishtanti, and this will turn into Tishtanti is Sthiyate. It is associated with the dhatuhu stha. So Tishtati will become Sthiyate. And even though it is in Tishtanti, it will only remain as Sthiyate. So Ajaha Shilayam Tishtanti, Ajaihi, right? Bahuvachanam. Ajaihi Shilayam Sthiyate. It is stood. Translation into English will be very it won't be elegant. It is being stood by, it is stood by goats on a rock.
Is that Bhave Prayoga?
Yes, this is a Bhave Prayoga, correct. So, and that reminds me that I should have changed the color, so you know it is a different Prayoga, and it is Sthiyate. Okay. Ajaihi Shilayam Sthiyate, and that is the Bhave Prayoga. And Ajaha is 1-3, Shilayam is 7-1, and Tishtanti is first person, sorry, third person, prathama purushaha and bahuvachanam. Ajaihi is tritiya vibhakti, third case. Yes, Harinderji, Shilayam is,
You know,
yeah.
tishtati is not a transitive verb. So would you really say something like this in Sanskrit?
It is an intransitive verb.
Yeah.
I think Swamiji said
Yes,
you
it's
can
an intransitive verb.
Bhave, right?
So it's a bhave prayoga. It's
Oh,
not
it's a
karmi prayoga.
bhave prayoga. Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So sthiyate
Thank
is sthiyate is 1, 1. So bhave prayoga. So I will say this is bhave. And the maroon is karmani. And the black is kartari. So bhavaha is action. So bhave is the locative of the word action. So bhave prayogaha, in bhava. The usage is with bhava centric, action centric. The usage is karta centric. The usage is karma centric. Okay. So in the bhave prayogaha, whether you do vayam shilayam tishtamaha, tvam shilayam tishthasi, whatever you do, it will be asmabhi shilayam sthiyate, tvaya shilayam sthiyate, ajaihi shilayam sthiyate. So whatever be the karta, the sthiyate will remain as sthiyate. Sthiyate, sthiyate, sthiyate will be stood by as sthiyate.
When you say we,
Even then it will be we. It is stood by goats on a rock. It is stood by you on a rock. It is stood by us on a rock. Sadhu?
That's really convenient that you only have to remember it in the one form of the verb. So
Right, only the ekavachanam and only in third person. So
I think
let me.
I was thinking, Vidyaji, that the writing in English is for passive is actually harder than the Sanskrit.
Yes,
They're
the English
it's
is
so awkward.
cumbersome.
Yeah, it's awkward.
It is, and it also makes the, it is stood by on a rock, that it is needs to be included in English. So it doesn't really convey that it is intransitive, because you're assuming an it. If you were to replace it with goes, if I were to say villages are gone to by us, if instead of saying gramaha, you would say something is gone to by us. You need to put that it. So even in the intransitive impersonal voice, you have to provide a dummy it to make the sentence in English.
It was very helpful to hear you say that it was action centric. I didn't understand exactly what it meant before when you said bhave prayoga. When you said it was action centric, that means it doesn't attach onto anything.
Right.
Yeah, I totally.
And bhavaha means
very clear.
One of the meanings for bhavaha is action. Bhavaha means emotion, but in a different context. But in this context, bhavaha means action. Anybody else having any question? So bhave, so karta is, so kriya is also bhavaha. So I will put the thing within parenthesis. The kriya means bhavaha.
Vidyaji, if you're going to share these notes, the translation, goats stand on the rock, not Rama stands on the rock.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, please do share that. That's a
Yeah.
great help. Yeah, we'd love to have that.
Yeah, I will. I still have all the.
That's a
things
good birthday
saved.
present for Lord Rama, though.
Right. So Rama stands on a rock. So goats stand on a rock. Okay. I can even share it right now while we are finishing up the class. That way you can use it even now. Any other prashna? Any other question? Okay. If there is no other question, let me stop sharing the screen. So if there is no other, Harinderji, you still have a question? Okay. So if there is no other question, one of you could do the Shanti Mantra while I save the file and share it here on the chat. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah.
Go ahead.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Thank you for doing all the three, because it gave me time to save all those two files. I have just added the first one and the second one. Okay, I've just shared the two image files that we used in class right now. And okay, so we can let me stop the recording.
Namaste. Namaste.
Okay, so
Thank you so much.
yes, and hopefully the recording is available, because I had to restart the recording. We will see what I think it was still streaming. Anyway, we will know later. The magic will be done by whoever is doing the magic. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. Namaste. And I will send the sentences for homework.
Thank you, Vidyaji.
Namaste, Varalakshmi ji, Bhavani ji, Amala ji, Sharmila ji, Pushpa ji, Harinder ji.
Thank you.